diner smelled of burnt coffee and overcooked bacon that morning, yet for Emily Carter, it was the smell of survival. At 24, with tired eyes hidden behind a forced smile, she had been working double shifts just to keep the lights on in the tiny apartment she shared with her 6-year-old son, Noah. Life had never been kind to her, abandoned by her ex-husband, scraping by with tips that barely covered daycare. But Emily had learned to hold her chin high, believing that dignity was something no one could take from her. Until that morning. Because that was the morning everything changed. That was the morning a group of leather-jacketed bikers walked into the diner, and with them came the storm that would shatter her world. If you're already hooked by Emily's story and want to know what happens next, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Exposed Tales so you never miss powerful stories like this one. The regular customers in the diner, the old men who nursed black coffee and the gossipy women who lingered over tea, stiffened as the bikers rolled in. Heavy boots on the linoleum floor, tattoos peeking from their sleeves, the kind of men people instinctively avoided. Emily noticed the shift in the room, but she saw something else too. Beneath their intimidating look, these men looked weary, travel-worn, maybe even hungry in more ways than one. She straightened her apron and approached them with the same kindness she gave everyone. "Good morning," she said softly, handing out minutes. "Coffee to start." The bikers nodded, almost surprised by her warmth. Soon Emily was moving back and forth, refilling their mugs, listening as they laughed among themselves, and even sharing a small smile when one of them said, "You're the first person today who hasn't treated us like trash." But her kindness came at a cost. From behind the counter, her manager, Mr. Donnelly, glared at her. He was a man who thrived on control, bitter from years of running a failing diner. The regulars had started whispering, shaking their heads disapprovingly at Emily for entertaining trouble. The tension mounted until, when the bikers finally left, Donnelly called Emily into the back office. His voice was ice. "You're fired." Emily's heart sank. "For what?" "For doing my job. For serving them," he hissed as if the word itself was poison. "We don't welcome their kind, and neither should you." Her chest tightened. She wanted to argue, but her words caught in her throat. She had rent due, a child depending on her, and now she was being thrown into uncertainty because she dared to show decency to strangers. Tears stung her eyes, but Donnelly's face was already turned away, dismissing her as if she were nothing. Emily walked out of that diner with her apron still tied around her waist, the morning sun blinding her as she wondered how she would explain this to Noah. That night was one of the hardest of her life. Noah sat at their rickety table asking, "Mummy, why are you sad?" And Emily could only smile weakly, stroking his hair, too afraid to tell him the truth. She cried quietly once he was asleep, staring at the stack of unpaid bills, feeling the walls of her tiny apartment closing in. But the next day brought something she never expected. When Emily returned to the diner, not as an employee, but simply to collect her last paycheck, she found a row of motorcycles parked outside. The bikers were back. Only this time they weren't laughing. Their faces were solemn, serious. And when they saw Emily, their leader, a tall man with a gray beard named Jack, approached her. "We heard what happened," he said. "You lost your job because of us?" Emily swallowed hard. "It's not your fault. I just did what I thought was right." Jack's eyes softened. "And that's exactly why people like you deserve better." Before Emily could respond, the bikers walked into the diner with her. Customers froze. Mr. Donnelly's face went pale. But instead of causing trouble, Jack spoke loudly, his voice echoing through the room. "This woman treated us like human beings. When everyone else looked at us like monsters, she gave us kindness. And you fired her for it. Shame on you." The diner went silent. Every pair of eyes darted between Donnelly and the bikers, and for once, the town's small-minded judgment felt fragile. Donnelly sputtered, trying to defend himself, but the weight of Jack's words lingered in the air. Emily felt her cheeks burn, half with embarrassment, half with pride. She had never had anyone stand up for her before. The bikers didn't stop there. They invited Emily to join them outside, and what she saw left her speechless. On the back of one of the motorcycles was a box filled with groceries, toys, and even an envelope stuffed with cash. "For you and your boy," Jack said. "We don't have much, but we take care of people who take care of us." Emily's hands trembled as she clutched the envelope. I can't take this." "Yes, you can," Jack replied firmly. Because you deserve to know that kindness matters, even when the world tries to punish you for it. That night, for the first time in months, Emily cooked a full meal for Noah, tears streaming down her face as she watched her son laugh and eat without worry. She realized that losing her job wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something greater. Word of what happened spread through town. Slowly, people began to question their prejudices. A few even stopped by Emily's apartment to offer support. And weeks later, with the bikers' help, Emily opened a small coffee shop of her own, a place where everyone, no matter who they were or how they looked, was welcome. Before I share the closing message of this story, let me remind you, if Emily's journey touched your heart, please like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Exposed Tales so more people can be inspired by stories of kindness, courage, and redemption. Emily's story is a reminder that sometimes life strips us of what we think we need so we can discover what we truly deserve. She lost a job that devalued her humanity, only to find a family she never expected and a purpose she never knew she had. The next day after her firing didn't just shock her, it shocked the whole town. And maybe, just maybe, it can shock us too, into realizing that kindness is never wasted. Even in the darkest of times, it has the power to light the way forward.